what's going on? We are in Uzbekistan. This is an amazing country. We started from the north back to Tashkent, the capital. To get to the north, we got Uzbekistan Airways from Tashkent to Nukus. It's not very expensive, and Nukus is in the desert in Karakalpastan, which is like a different country with its own culture. You can see it in some similarities with, for example, the Mongolians with yurts and stuff like that. There's a couple of things to see in Nukus. One of them is the Museum of Art, which is the second largest Russian avant-garde. It's like the Louvre of Uzbekistan. The second thing to see is the Mistakan necropolis or cemetery. And also, of course, all the cities have a market, which is really interesting to see how the culture is, how they live, and a lot of their habits. One of the things that I found in Uzbekistan is that English is not very widely spoken, so it was pretty hard to communicate, which was kind of surprising to me because you're used to being able to use English. Over here it's Russian. So we went to the Mistakan cemetery, which is an amazing cemetery. It dates back to even before the Muslims, because there's actually a lot of Zoroastrian that was buried here, but there's a lot of legends in this cemetery, and it's very worth a visit. We have to get off when they load gas in the gas station. There can only be one person. So as you saw, we grabbed a cab. It was a bit hard to communicate, but we just said the location and they took us there, okay? And as you can see, you have to get off when they put gas. So after Nukus, we headed to Khiva. It cost us $20 per cab, so it doesn't matter how many people are in it, and it's about a 4-hour ride. If you want to go by train, make sure you book, as it's always full. So this is the entrance to Ichankala, which is the walled old city. At the entrance, you can buy a ticket over here, which is for the mosques and the palaces and all that. But if you have a hotel inside, well, you're already inside, so you don't have to pay the entrance fee. But as I say, once you want to visit the different mosques and tombs and stuff, you do have to have that ticket to enter. So we went from Nukus, but a lot of people go from Urgench, which is the other access to Khiva. So our route, as I say, started from Khiva, and then we went down to Bukhara and then to Samarkand, which is the capital of the Timurid Empire, which was the capital, right? So you can progressively see how the importance gets bigger in the cities. But already in Chankala, which is the old city of Khiva, is absolutely amazing. You can see how well kept it is and how everything just is worthy of what it is, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. And it's very interesting because there's a lot of locals, which is actually very nice to see compared to other tourist places that you go that is full of just tourists. Over here there's a lot of local people selling stuff and just enjoying coming there to just walk there with their families, which makes it even more of a special place. At night, it turns to be a very lively city. You can have dinner outside, or there's a lot of stalls of people just selling their crafts. $1 is about 12,000 song, and people are pretty fair. Honestly, you still have to haggle your prices, but you know, it's not that big of a challenge. Another very important visit is the Juma Mosque. The Juma Mosque is a mosque that dates to about the 10th century. You can see clearly here the Uzbek architecture, where you see the carved wood. Uzbekistan is very important for wood carving, and they have some of the best wood carving schools. And the architecture, as you can see, is there's a kind of a stone base and then the wood carved columns that make it very beautiful, and it's very detailed, and it's all hand carved. This mosque was actually rebuilt in the 1700s, although the original, as I say, was from the 10th century. So this was our hotel, this column right here. Honestly, the hotels are pretty cheap. Again, it will probably change in the future, and it's crazy because this was actually where we would have breakfast, in the building right beside it. And as you will see, the breakfast was amazing. The food was really good in Khiva. Honestly, for me, it was the best compared to the other cities, Bukhara and Samarkand. The food was the best here. Very, very good, very kind of different. It's a mix of kind of Arabic, Iranian, European kind of. They use a lot of dill, and it wasn't expensive. As I say, the hotels are not expensive, which is great. Okay, so the feeling of this place is really like, it really gives you a feeling of traveling, you know, like you're in another kind of world. So as you can see, the architecture here of the column and like the attention to detail, which is pretty common in Arabic countries, with the kind of the little details in the tiles and all that with Muslim cultures. It's absolutely astonishing, and it's very nice. From Khiva, we went over to Bukhara. This time we did take the train. This is where the station is, and if you walk straight from the station, as you can see, you get to the Khiva, the old town. We got a cab to the station. There's different types of cabs. There's the regular kind of car cab, and then there's these little cabs. So these little cabs, as you can see, they have a number, and you get on. These are 3,000 Uzbekistanis, I forgot the currency, and per person, and it just does a route. The train is pretty cheap, but as I say, you have to book it. Another thing that was kind of common is that when you go to your seat in the train, it's already taken, meaning that people sit wherever they kind of want. So you kind of get on the train and you have to talk with them, you know, to kind of be like, oh, this is my seat, and then, you know, you figure it out. They do that all the time. This is the bus station of Urgench, which is right by the kind of hospital university that was beside it. So we got to Bukhara at night, and the light show, which does not happen every day, was the different colors was happening, and it was magical, as you can see. So, but it goes on like every other day. They have a schedule and it changes, so make sure you look at when the lights are programmed to be on. The rest of the nights will just be like regular lights, and it does make a difference. A few of the sites in Bukhara are the town, the walled town. You can get in. You have to pay. It's 20,000 Uzbeks, and it's kind, you know, it's touristic. A lot of tourists around, as I say. And this is another very important mosque, and you just walk around. It's very, very enjoyable. There are actually many sites to see in Bukhara, so it's just going to depend on the time that you have. If you're going with a tour or if you're going on your own, just choose wisely. These are the ones that we went to see, which are the main sites, but again, there's a lot of places to see because, again, Uzbekistan is a very important, or was a very important, Silk Road stop. So it has everything from trading markets to mosques to different cultures. So unlike Khiva, where you actually have a ticket for the whole ruins and you can enter in all of the buildings, here you have to pay in every single building, and in Samarkand as well. This one is kind of pricey. It's 40,000 Uzbeks, and Samarkand will actually be more expensive. Bukhara is really nice. This is another section where like there's a lot of restaurants, there's a river, and the walking area of where like the sites are is really nice. It's very touristic. It's very kind of well set for just walking around, buying souvenirs, seeing the tourist sites. So we finally made it to Samarkand. As I say, our route went from Khiva, Bukhara to Samarkand, being Samarkand the last one, and it is the biggest one. You can see how it was the capital of the empire, and it's very impressive because the buildings are a lot bigger, the mosques are a lot bigger, a lot more detail. As you can see, it's a very beautiful place, and there's a lot of things to see. And you just take it slow. As I say, here you pay a ticket in every place you go. So this complex is also very important, the Bibi Cunning Mosque and all the area. There was an earthquake in 1897 that kind of tore some pieces, so it was actually even more impressive. So you have to think that Samarkand was the lost city of the Persians, right? After Genghis destroyed it, and then it was taken over by the Russians, right? And there is a lot of blue all around. You will see in Shah Izinda, especially, where everything is blue, right? This is Shah Izinda, and apparently it's like a sacred color for the Turkish, right? And that's why it's everywhere. So this is the necropolis of Shah Izinda. It is quite important because the legend says that a cousin of Muhammad is buried here in one of their trips to Samarkand. So all these things that you see here are graves, and it is very beautiful because, again, it just has blue everywhere, and it kind of creates it isolates you from everywhere. You're kind of in a little, kind of spiritual island, and it's very special. So take your time to visit it and choose the right time. At nighttime, every day in the Registan Square, which is the main square of Samarkand, they have the light show. And so don't worry, it's not like Bukhara where it's just sometimes. In Registan, it's every night, and there's like music, and it's a nice place to chill. From there, what we did, we went to Tajikistan, which is really close. We just grabbed a cab, and it's about 1 to 2 hour ride. I like to be on a Lada Niva, which is it's an old Russian car. And we just went to the border, no visa required, depending on the passport you have, of course, and we crossed. Tajikistan will visit it in another time because it is really nice. There's a lot of mountains everywhere. We just went to the town, had a meal, and as I say, there is a big language barrier. We went to this restaurant and we thought we understood what we were talking about. Well, we didn't, and we ended up with like 5 plates that we had to eat because they just brought it to us, and it was all because we didn't understand each other. People are pretty legit in Uzbekistan. Like, don't worry about them stealing or anything like that. Just minor kind of scams maybe, but don't worry about it. The last place we visited, as you saw, we got the train from Samarkand to Tashkent, and then we went to visit the metro. We visited a few sites in Tashkent, but it wasn't really that interesting for me. It was a lot more interesting to see the mosques and Khiva, Bukhara, and Samarkand than Tashkent. So we just went to visit the metro. It's pretty straightforward how you do it. However, it's very confusing to kind of go from one station to the other. So you just kind of, because the colors don't mean anything like you saw on the map. Here's a bit of information on how it works. So on the left side is where it's going. The one that's in green is where we're at, and then it's if you don't kind of know your way around, just kind of ask to go to a station, but it's pretty complicated. Aside from that, well, I totally recommend visiting this place, and just The sooner the better.